No dogs in this study were rehabilitated from resource guarding. None.
One 2017 study showed successful rehabilitation of dogs who had resource guarding issues.
And anybody who hired a trainer to come in and help them with resource guarding and achieve the results they achieved in this study would want a refund.
What is the scientific data on dog aggression? One 2017 study showed successful rehabilitation of dogs who had resource guarding issues.
I just watched Zak George's video, State of Emergency, the dog training crisis is here, the case against aversive tools, and I'm really concerned with what I'm seeing in this video. The dog training crisis is here and it's being created. I'm going to go into this study, and for the sake of brevity, I'm going to keep it fairly short. However, I will have links to the entire video from Zak below, and also a link to the actual study so that anybody that wants to do a little further research can go into that. There's really just a few things that I want to cover in this video. One is a little bit about the design of the study and the participants, and then also what they were actually studying and what Zak says about the study and why he cites it as a reference for the effectiveness of clicker training and all positive reinforcement, when actually it's the complete opposite. This study was a complete failure. None of the dogs achieved much of any success. And if anybody was hired as a trainer to go in and help a client with resource guarding and they achieved these results, that client would want a refund. No dogs were rehabilitated from resource guarding. None. And you're going to watch Zak say that this is evidence of clicker training being able to rehabilitate resource guarding.
One 2017 study showed successful rehabilitation of dogs who had resource guarding issues.
You're also going to see him say that this is a study that supports scientific data on aggression.
What is the scientific data on dog aggression?
And I'm going to show you in this study how they actually excluded aggression from the study. They had broken down resource guarding into basically 4 categories. Category 1, they called mild social interaction and pressure, for example, yawning or turning away. They decided not to include that in the study. Category 4 behaviors were defined as overt aggressive behaviors, that is, snapping and biting. So category 4, the overtly aggressive behaviors, they also did not include in this study.
What is the scientific data on dog aggression?
The 2 categories of behaviors that they did include in the study were categories 2 and 3. Category 2 behaviors were defined as responses displayed in situations of escalating stress and perceived threat, examples, ears flattened, and or hovering over the object. Category 3 behaviors included more intense threatening behaviors, such as staring and growling. So they were interested in the category 2 and 3 behaviors, excluded the very, very mild ones, category 1, and specifically excluded any aggressive behaviors.
What is the scientific data on dog aggression?
None of these dogs in the study were green dogs or untrained dogs. They all had some experience and some a lot of experience with clicker training. So dog number 1 had approximately 9 years of experience with clicker training. Dog number 2 was familiar with use of an event marker, but so far had only used a vocal event marker followed by food or play. So basically, they were doing marker training just like with a clicker, except saying yes instead of clicking a clicker. So let's just consider that the same thing. Dog number 3. This dog had approximately 6 months of clicker training, and dog number 4 had approximately 4 months experience with clicker training. So all of these dogs were beyond learning about the clicker and what it does. So the fact that this study produced such appalling results is not because the dogs didn't understand clicker training, it's because it simply didn't work for resource guarding. There was a 3-month follow-up after the intervention. Dogs number 2 and 1 were included in the follow-up. Dogs number 3 and 4 were not. which is very interesting because I'm about to show you the baseline behaviors for each of the 4 dogs. And you're going to see that the 2 dogs that were excluded from the 3-month follow-up were actually the worst resource guarders by far. Dog number 1, baseline measures. Dog number 1 showed an 84% rate of category 2 behaviors, which remember are the more mild behaviors, and 16% of category 3 behaviors, which are the more intense resource guarding behaviors. Dog number 2 showed an average weight of 61% for category 2 behaviors and 16% for category 3. So actually dogs 1 and 2, if we look at the more intense resource guarding behaviors, had the same at about 16%. Dog number 3 had 43% category 2 behaviors and 48% category 3 behaviors. So 48% of the more intense resource guarding behaviors. That's 3 times what dogs 1 and 2 had. Okay, so he's 3 times worse with his category 3 behaviors than they were, and he was excluded from the follow-up study. And dog number 4 had a rate of 6% for category 2 behaviors and a rate of 88% category 3. 88% category 3 behaviors. By far the worst resource guarder of them all. And he was excluded from the follow-up. And here's the reasoning for excluding dogs number 3 and 4 from the 3-month follow-up. Data collection of the follow-up and final probe sessions after the 3-month break for dogs 3 and 4 could not be confirmed by the time this article was in preparation. The decision to submit it for publication without including such results was made. They couldn't wait to get the results for 50% of the population that they used in the study. And not only that, but the 2 dogs they couldn't get the results for were the worst offenders of all. So here it is, the moment we've all been waiting for, the money shot. Follow-up probe versus baseline. So this is comparing where the dogs were 3 months post-intervention to where they were at the very beginning of the study before any intervention. Average rates of category 3 behaviors during the follow-up probe reverted to baseline levels in both dogs 1 and 2. That means 0 progress. Category 2 behaviors decreased 23% for dog 1 and 35% for dog 2. Let me put a nice little bow on all this. Category 2 behaviors, which are the more mild resource guarding behaviors, which you would think would be a little easier to deal with. For dog number 1, that dog retained 77% of his resource guarding behaviors after the intervention. Dog number 2 retained 65% of its resource guarding behaviors after the intervention. And both dogs retained 100% of their category 3 resource guarding issues after intervention. How is that a success?
One 2017 study showed successful rehabilitation of dogs who had resource guarding issues.
Friends and fellow trainers, these are serious times. There's propagandists out there spreading lies and misinformation in order to further their cause and to take away your ability to do your job properly. Share this video. Subscribe to the channel for additional videos breaking down the rest of the studies that Zak cites in his State of Emergency video. Thanks for watching.